Okay, so we're going to start our measurement study sheet. Now the first thing that we came up with when we were doing this was the referent, and it's an item an individual uses as a measuring unit of estimating. So we talked about, someone suggests that's like the caveman measurement of estimating, right? We should put, because it's about estimating. Now maybe later we would kind of forget what that was. So why don't we just put one little example? E.g., your pinky for measuring an eraser, right? Or something like that. Okay, so what else we got here? We had that. Okay, then we have Imperial and Metric. Okay, so now we have Imperial. Okay, that's by the US, and that's like inches, yard, etc. Right? Maybe you're going to put more. And then metric. What's the other name for metric?
Standard international.
Right. System.
Or system.
System International. Okay. Anything else we need to put? Maybe we'd put like meter, gram, seconds even, right? Okay. And maybe, you know, do we want to put, you might want to put, that's Canada, right? Now, I don't know if we need to write any of this or any of this down. Do you see that as necessary? Okay, I wouldn't either, right? That would be something I think I'd be good to. Okay, and again this. Okay, we need standardization. Again, I don't know if that's something like that would pop up. Okay, so that's the first day's notes. Second day, what kind of thing? We talked about the metric system and some of the conversions. Now, these are really important, but why won't I write them down? They're on my formula sheet. Okay? So, okay, but then we got into here. Now, this is not on your formula sheet, so let's get that down. So, metric system we're still talking about. Kill him dead, but don't commit murder. Okay, what did kill stand for? No, kilo, hecto, deca, basic, deci, centi, oops, spelled that wrong, and milli. Okay, now under basic, what would be under basic? Meter, grams, liter, seconds, joules, newtons. Okay, and then I would even write something like, you know how deca and deci get mixed up? I would put, this would be dem. See, you get to swear in math class, not fun. And then this is decimeter. Okay? See, what if just by doing the study sheet I prevented one student from making an error there? It was worth it. Okay? And maybe that was you, maybe it's not. Okay, then we go to the next one. Now, maybe, and you wouldn't believe how awesome examples are. So if we went from, let's say, let's do this one, meters to millimeters, so 0, or 0.0019. So, and see if you can do it here, like try to use your, we've got example 0.0019 meters. What was that example? Went to millimeters, right? Oops, I want that. Would equal, and then what I would do is I would blank millimeters. I would just go, okay, kill him dead, but don't commit murder. And then we're here, and we're going to go 1, 2, 3. So then we will go 1, 2, 3, 1.9 millimeters. Now, I know what some of you are saying. You're saying, I know that. Like, why do I have to write that down? Well, maybe that's going to be nice to see in 5 months, right? That'll be kind of like, hey, yeah, I get that, right? So it's not always oh, I forgot that 100%, but I'm a little bit unfamiliar with it. That's a bit better. Okay, I'm going to see if I can. It's like the one side isn't as focused as the other side. Okay, so moving right along. And if anytime you think I'm missing something important, stick up your hand. I'm good. Okay, so we did that. I don't think we need to do any more examples. We already got one. Yep. Okay, and then we cruise along here. This is different, right? So what should we say here? I would put like an asterisk. If meters squared to like millimeters squared, go 2 every time. And if it was meters cubed to millimeters cubed, go 3 every time. Okay, and then maybe that doesn't even, like when you read that in 6 months, you're like, what did I mean by go 2 every time? So, kill him dead, but don't commit murder. If you're going here to here, you'd go 2, 4, 6. So 2, 2, 2, you go 6 decimal places. And remember, I should put squared on each of these because that's the squared one. And I maybe wouldn't do an example for 3 because I get it, because I just showed the 2. It's almost like if you were making this for somebody else that doesn't know this stuff. Okay? What would you want them to know if they and it was your responsibility they did well on their test. Okay? Back to here. Okay. Maybe these abbreviations. So maybe I would go like this. We're kind of on to new topics. So inch is ... Foot is 1, right? Yard kind of makes sense. And mile kind of makes sense, right? And again, these are all on the formula sheet, so you don't need to rewrite those. Okay? Now, the unit analysis. Okay? So, maybe if we did something like, number 14 here. 14 miles to inches. So this is for unit analysis. Now, you may even, in 5 months, go, what the heck is unit analysis? Right? And then if we have, especially with my writing, say, so it was 14 inches. Oops. Or 14 miles to inches, right? So we want to go 14 miles, and we want to end up with inches. Okay, and then we get out our formula sheet. So this is one example. And the examples will show you a lot when you read them over. So we can't go from, see, and I'm putting a harder example on because some go right to inches, but miles doesn't. That's supposed to be miles. So we would go 1 mile is, the best we can do is go to yards, right? Or feet, right. So 1 mile times 5280 feet is 1 mile. Okay, I'm going to have to move this over a little bit. And I would show nicely that miles cancels with miles, and it would just leave me with feet, but I don't want it just in feet, and then I have to go and multiply one more step, because I need to get rid of the feet, but I need it in inches. If I put foot up top, I would get feet squared when multiplying, so I don't want that. So I would have 1 foot is 12 inches. And I would show feet cancel, and I would be left with inches. What was the answer to that? 887.040. 887.040 inches. Examples are very powerful. If you, on a test, you may have one that's very similar to, it's just sometimes, and watch out, I'll be marking your stuff, and I'll go, where did 14 miles come from? Like, you put a 14 in there, it's weird. And I know you got it from your study sheet when you're looking at an example. So don't get your example numbers mixed up with your other numbers. Okay. What else did we do? More analysis, and then the rest was the assignment. Okay, so we're on to the next thing. Relating SI and Imperial. Now again, this is showing the unit cancellation. Would I need to show that again? I think I've already done that once. Maybe just one. Okay, because this one's going from metric, or from imperial to metric. So if I was doing 114 inches to centimeters, oops. So how about 114 inches? How would I get that to centimeters? Well, I would look on my sheet and I would go inches 2 point, so times 2.54 centimeters over 1 inch. I would show that canceling equals, and then what was the answer? Which one am I on here? It's a good question. Because that was the assignment. It moved on me. Oh, there you are. So that would be 289.56 centimeters. Oops. And one thing that I forgot to say, so I would go to the very, very top of my sheet, and I would write something like this, you know, with asterisks. Always see where I need to round, okay? Because how many people, right? And if you just have that staring you in the face when you're doing your test, hopefully, and you've highlighted it, hopefully it's always screaming at you. Round it properly. Okay, so then we had that. Then we had another one. I don't think we'd need to show another example. And I think the rest is basically... Now, was there one that we had to convert with time in there? Because that was a trickier one. Yeah, this one here, meters per second. You know, your seconds over minutes. Is that one even on your formula sheet? No. So maybe you want to write that down. Okay. Maybe put remember 60 seconds, 1 minute. Okay, and it might be 1 minute over 60 seconds, depending how they're going to cancel, right? Anything going on here? No, that was work we had to do. Okay, so we're already on the 4th lesson. Okay, what happened here? We did mathematical symbols. Basically, we just have to remember Pythagoras. Okay? And this is even like when you're studying your study sheet, it'll help you remember the entire unit. Oh yeah, that's right, we have to do Pythagoras. So,
That's the first thing on our formulation.
right, that one is. So, but A, B, and C. What is A?
Altitude.
See, that's not on your sheet. B equals base. C equals hypotenuse. Yeah. Now, what do we know about these two always? Yeah, they share the right angle. Okay, so the one formula we had A squared plus B squared equals C squared, but make sure if you're solving for C, C would equal the square root of A squared plus B squared. What if we were solving for B? C squared minus A squared. How about A? Now, I mark a lot of these tests. I know the mistakes you guys make. That's some of the mistakes you guys make. You don't do the formula right, or you forgot to take the square root. Okay? So make sure you're doing that. Okay, and I'm almost guaranteed that's going to take care of anything we needed to know there. Right? So we're already on lesson 5. Okay? Now, that's pretty good to know. Area is always square units. Okay, so I don't know why I keep bringing you up. Okay, so now we're on to kind of another topic, right? And a lot of people will put lesson 1, lesson 2, lesson 3, lesson 4. You can do that to keep that really organized. Because maybe when you put lesson 4 down and then you are studying in 5 months and you're like, what did I write there? I don't get this. You know where to go to lesson 4 at least in your book, right? You're not like trying to hunt all your lessons. Okay, so area is always units squared. Okay, example, centimeters squared, meters squared, and then volume. Is always meter or units cubed. Okay, I know some people are going to mess that up. Example, centimeters cubed, meters cubed, feet cubed. Okay, now these area formulas are on the, okay, now this is something that could be asked of you, is just what would this be in the triangle? And I just have an arrow to a picture. Okay, so, right, I know it's, of course I have to bring you up again. Okay, you know, just to draw something fast and label it, what's this called? Apex. Okay. Okay, we've got this, and then we've got these. These are two different things we don't want to get mixed up, right? Okay, what's this? Slant height. What about this? Height. Okay, anything else? We got base, we got face maybe. Put that on. Face, base. Okay. Anything else we need on here? Okay. This is a good one, I think. Okay, I would just put a little note here. Remember, lateral area. I would go surface area is all sides. Lateral area excludes the base. Okay. Again, that's all on your formula sheet. Okay. Now remember this S1 and S2. Oops. Remember how we got those kind of mixed up on the quiz, right? So you could, make sure you say S1 and S2 are the same if it's a square base, right? So for surface area formula, S1 would equal S2 if square base. And maybe you're going to go S1, S2. What did those even stand for? Those stood for slant heights. But if it's not a square base, S1 would not equal S2.
You just,
Yep.
like you just put S1 and like not equals S2 rectangle.
Yeah, exactly. But if you look on your formula sheet, that S1 and S2 is set up that it's not equal, right? So I'm already going to assume that's there. Okay, then we did some. Maybe you're going to put one good example on yours, because am I going to ask one of these on a test? Yeah, I am. So maybe you want to put one good example down. And yeah, you might want to do it tiny, right? But that's almost going to be specific up to you. And maybe while you're doing your test today, your practice test, you're going to put something like that on. Okay? Nothing was really that alarming here. And then the assignment. Okay, next one was volume. Oh, I don't have anything that we needed to remember about volume. Those were the nice easy ones, right? But I know it feels kind of weird not to put anything, but which is funny because I didn't actually bring up the. Yeah, but we kind of did that for the surface area one, right? So maybe for just I would even something like that, volume, the easier ones. Just substitute correctly. And round properly. And when do we round? Yeah, do we round every step? Only at the end, right?
And then if there's like a number with what's the number, we just take the first three. Right?
I would take first 5 if I want to be paranoid, right? But we definitely like the volume ones better, right? They were nicer. Okay. Then the next was practice on surface area and shapes, but mostly spheres, right? Anything that was weird about spheres? That is on our formula sheet, right? But just, maybe even you might forget later what. So remember, you got your sphere and your hemisphere. And again, I'll leave it up to you if you want to put just one example down of how to do one of them. Okay, because as we go through, and we've already talked about. Now here's one thing that I think we should talk about, and that is how to convert. Okay, so my question that I would put, or my example I would put here is finding R when volume equals 4/3 pi R cubed. Yes? Okay, so I want you to tell me, what would I do first? I'm going to write down steps. Students love steps, right? And I got a few students really struggling on these. So you can even help them out. What would be your step 1? No. Close. Yes? No, you were going to do that after. I would do this first, yeah? Right. So I would go multiply each side by 3/4. And then I would go like this here. And then I would cross out the 3's, cross out the 4's. Now what's step 2? Don't know, or we're just shy? What would I do? It's Monday for me too. What do you do, guys? Okay, divide each side by pi, and then I'd put pi there and pi there. Then step 3, yeah, cube root each side. So I would take the cube root, so I would get the cube root of 3v over 4 pi equals r. Now there's one important thing that we talked about when you put it in your calculator. Yeah. Calc. Add brackets. And I'm going to go like this, and like this, and I'm going to put an arrow. Just waiting for a few people to finish writing, and then we'll keep going. Yes? Cube root each side. Okay, now here's another thing. Where is cube root? Math. So that's something too. And so we'll go math what? Math. Which number? Math 4. And we always get a code that if you put rectangles around it, it means buttons on your calculator. Yeah. Yeah, I'm just doing the TI 83 plus and the 84, right? Because that's what everybody needs to be getting. Okay. And then, okay. And you know, something too that I would put down is watch that diameters get converted to radius. Because if you put diameter into your question, you're going to get them wrong, right? So I might just give you the diameter in the radius. Okay, so then we did that. We did some hemisphere questions. Again, we had to know how to convert. And then last lesson. Okay, so we just did these two questions. Now, anything that you think we should say about these?
For the surface area, you have to remember to take away bases. Surface.
Okay. Yep. How about volume? Anything tricky on the volume one? No.
It's volume.
Surface area? Anything, any advice we need here?
Maybe create nets.
Create a net. I like it. Okay. Right. So, well, those were called 4 composite questions. And you might later go, what was a composite questions? Just draw yourself a little house fast, right? Oops. For surface area only, or draw a net. And don't count inside shapes. Okay. Now I think it's even nice just to have time to sit down as a class and say, what have we learned already? Right? Now you've got your study sheet. On the very back of it, you're going to have your name, first and last name, because you're going to be handing that in. But now as you use, this isn't done. It's not totally finished. As you're now doing your practice test, I want you to be adding a couple things that you're messing up. Maybe there's an example on there that caught you. You came up, you asked about it, you're like, oh, I would have never got that on a test. Well, now you should, right? Because what did I promise you tomorrow? There would be no surprises. Okay?